Hey guys, welcome back to the ExamRevision YouTube channel. My name is Ellen and today we're going to be talking about my personal biggest Leaving Cert regrets. I am currently a fourth year student studying computer science at Trinity College. So my Leaving Cert was 4 years ago, and don't get me wrong, there are still some things I did that I still think about to this day that I regret so much, and I just want to tell you guys them so you can avoid doing the same thing that I did. The first thing I want to talk about is not having a balanced study schedule. I fell victim to this just like a lot of other people. My favorite subjects were maths, biology, chemistry, and physics. I was a very science girly through and through, and because I loved them, I studied them a lot. I studied these subjects so much that I was at a H1 consistently from about December/January of 6th year. Maybe bar maths. Maths did need some extra time. For biology, chemistry, and physics, I don't think I actually, throughout the course of 5th and 6th year, ever got less than H1 in any exam. But I still continued to study and study and study them because I loved studying them and I just loved the subjects. I thought they were so interesting. But obviously, my other subjects, French and English, got the brunt of it. I did also obviously do Irish, but I did ordinary level Irish because I wasn't counting it in my points. But my other two subjects, English and French, I obviously did have to count my Leaving Cert, yet I really neglected them in order to study the subjects that I loved. So please don't make the same mistake I did. I was very lucky. I was the year that we got predicted grades and the written exam, and then you got the best of both. So I was very lucky in terms of, for French, for my French exam I did very bad. But my teacher obviously had great expectations for me and predicted me a lovely grade. And so I got that grade in my Leaving Cert. But let me tell you now, if it wasn't for those predicted grades, I would not be in the course I am today. And for all of the rest of you doing your Leaving Cert either this year or next year, you are not getting predicted grades. So please study the subjects that need the work and that you don't like. If you're in 6th year, it's only a year, not even. It's 9 months of studying them. And then you never have to do them again. I have not written an essay since Leaving Cert. Obviously, depending on what course you're doing, but most of the time, if you don't like them, you're not gonna be pursuing them in any way, shape, or form. And you will never have to do them again. So in order to get into the course that you really want, just study them, please. Do not neglect them like I did. The next thing I want to talk about is procrastination. I didn't struggle so much with this in 6th year, but definitely I did in 5th year. In my head, my Leaving Cert was not for another 2 years. I was stress-free. I didn't really care. I procrastinated a lot. And that meant I had a lot more work in 6th year to do. But if you just do your little bit of study now in 5th year and maintain and keep on top of your subjects, you will have a lot less work to do in 6th year. So don't procrastinate too much, even if you are in 5th year. Just keep on top of things and you will thank yourself when you are in 6th year. The next thing I want to talk about is mock papers. I left doing any mock questions for quite a while, and I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why I did. Mock questions are obviously really scary. We all know that. There's a really bad reputation around them that they are very intense and scary. And they usually are. But doing those mock papers are really going to prepare you for the worst that could come up in your exam. There are so many mock questions that do just come up in the actual Leaving Cert. So doing them really difficult mock questions will really prepare you for the worst. And don't leave them so late, because you do want to get through at least 10 years of mock papers per subject before you sit the Leaving Cert. So just integrate them slowly. You don't have to be doing a mock paper every single week for every subject, but definitely picking out those harder mock questions will 100% benefit you in your exam, because you never know, that exact question might come up in your actual exam in June. The next thing I want to talk about just quickly is energy drinks. Be careful. I relied on them so heavily in 6th year, and then I was struggling to sleep at all. Coffee, fine, that's okay. Obviously not too much of it. But energy drinks would keep me up so late at night and I just couldn't sleep. I was wide awake. And then my whole sleep was getting interrupted. I wasn't getting enough sleep, and then I was just tired in school. So just be wary of them. That's all I will say. Sometimes they're needed, especially when it's coming up to mocks time or your actual Leaving Cert. Don't recommend pulling all-nighters, but if it has to be done, it has to be done. But generally throughout the school year, just on a day-to-day basis, I would try and avoid them. The next thing I want to talk about is comparing yourself to others. Some people are going to get all H1s, okay? That's just life. And that's great for them. But that's not normal. And that's not realistic for 90% of people. If you're aiming for H1s in every subject, and you know it's not reasonable for you and you've never got a H1 in some of these subjects, you're just gonna feel disheartened. You're just gonna be upset that you didn't get the H1 and you aimed for it. So be realistic with your expectations. Also, some people are gonna say they study for 8 hours a day after school. The likelihood is they probably don't study 8 hours a day after school. Take what everyone says with a pinch of salt. People will say things just to make themselves feel better and make themselves look better in terms of how much they study. The only thing that should matter is how much you're studying and how you're doing. You shouldn't really care about what grades people are getting or how long people are supposedly studying for. Unless you live in the same house as them and you see they're studying 8 hours a day, I would take that with a pinch of salt. They are just trying to flatter themselves and make themselves look better to everybody else. The last thing I want to talk about is enjoying the process of 6th year and the Leaving Cert. You can get really caught up with studying, CAO, college courses, all this kinds of thing. But do remember this is your last year in secondary school. Still go out, still have fun with your friends. Just because it's your Leaving Cert doesn't mean you can have one night every so often that you go out with your friends. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change your course or the course of your life. Still enjoy yourself. It is your last year in secondary school. You will probably never be back in 6th year ever again unless you repeat, which most people don't. So enjoy it, because once you go into college, everyone spreads out and your life does change. So enjoy it while you still can. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will talk to you all next week. Bye!
Also guys, be sure to check out the exam revision courses and bundles. I actually have a 20% off code for you. I'll put it on the screen now. They cover majority of the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert subjects. They have H1 standard notes, video lessons, presentations, quizzes, exam questions, everything you will need to succeed in the Leaving Cert and Junior Cert.